Welcome to the Cabin Cruiser Boating Adventure. So the job that I've got to do today is I want to replace this rail. It is a little bit rotten at the end here, and it has always let a bit of water in. Even though underneath I did fiberglass it and try to seal it, it's never been 100%. So I'm going to change it.
What are you going to replace it with, I hear you cry?
Mate, what are you putting in its place?
And since you asked, this is the bad boy that I'm going to replace it with. So they're going to fit in this place. And obviously I've got to take this solar panel off the wooden rail, and I've got to drill a hole here and mount the solar panel. But before we can do any of that, we have to remove some of the roof lining inside, which I'm going to replace anyway, so that's all going to come off so we can get to the screws that hold this wooden rail in place. At least that's the theory, and we'll see how we get on. Okay, so this is the roof lining that has to come off. This is a white faux leather, which I bought right in the beginning because it gave me a little bit of extra height, because originally this had boards going all the way down. But I've used various different glues to stick it, and the boat gets so hot that no matter what I've used, eventually it comes down and it just looks scruffy. So I'm going to take the white faux leather off. I'm going to keep these straps, but I've bought some very thin boarding which is going to go down the boat. So all of this has to come off, and then that will give me access to the screws that hold the handrail on. So we're kind of doing two jobs at once here, and we'll see how we get on. As you can see, I've spent a little bit of time on the old tunnel light, and it's now functioning. Good bright light on it, and I've cleaned it up as best I could, and I've put an extra thicker rubber on the bottom there I think I'm going to apply a little bit of seal around that, just to make it as watertight as I possibly can get it. So there's quite a lot of bits of preparation for this refit. One thing I'm doing straight away is to repaint the blue straps that are going to go across the cuddy. If I repaint them now, then they will be nice and dry before I need them. So that's all the roof straps painted. One of them needs a second coat because that hasn't been painted before. But I figure doing those now will be a lot better than trying to do them once they're installed. Now I'm going to tackle taking the solar panel off and removing these old grab rails. So now that the panel is loose, it can be quite easily lifted off. I'm just going to leave it there for the moment because it's collecting some sort of energy, although the weather today is not brilliant. So my next job is to move inside the boat and tackle the handrail from inside, find the screws, unscrew them and release the handrail. Sounds so simple. So you can see this is the first one. This is actually in the toilet ceiling. When I first took the boat on, I could see all of these screws which have been put through the roof to connect to the handrail, and so I put some fiberglass over the top of them just to make them a little bit more waterproof. So I've had to break through that seal to get to the screw, but it is coming out quite easily. So I may be tempting fate in saying that the screws from inside came out an awful lot easier than I had anticipated. There was one in that one, and then there were two in each of these, and one on the end. So a lot more than I had anticipated. All I've got to do now is to ease this off. It's stuck on with an awful lot of filler and glue, but there we are. There's one bolt in there that's going to have to be found and sawn, or even sawn off, although it may even just come out. Oh, there is one more there. I can see just how rotten this piece of hardwood is in places, and it's been fixed on a few times by the look of it. So these areas here now need cleaning up. You can actually see the original paintwork, so they're all going to be cleared up, sanded down, and then the holes filled, and I'm going to fiberglass over the top of them just for added security, and then install the new handrail. My approach to filling all these holes in is I've just put a little bit of silicone sealer. That's the first layer, and then I'm going to use some of this. This is Water Weld, which is an epoxy putty, which is really good, and it does dry really tough. So I'm going to fill that to the top, and then I'm going to put a layer of, maybe a couple of layers of fiberglass over the top before painting. I'd never done any fiberglass until I bought this boat, and I've been quite impressed with what I've done because I found it so difficult to take it off inside. So it did work. But I'm not going to be fiberglassing inside, I'm doing it outside, which is good news because it really does stink when you do it. I'm going to let this epoxy resin dry, and then I can sand it down, get it all nice and smooth before I put the layers of fiberglass on. But essentially now it is waterproof. Okay, so I've got the bolts in that end of the rail. There's plenty of choice as to where to put the bolts. And I've got one in here so far. I'm going to put one more. I've put rubber washers underneath them all. Okay, so I was able to drill a hole all the way through to insert a bolt, so I can bolt this on here, and the same the other side, and one at the front on each side, so it'll be nice and secure. So I'm going to turn the boat round now because it'll be easier to work on the other side of the boat from the bank. Okay, so I've got the solar panel mounted, but I think that looks pretty cool. In the meantime, these roof beams are drying quite nicely. In fact, they're probably nearly dry in this sunshine, just a little bit tacky. Don't need them yet, got to get all the boarding done in the cuddy first, so that'll be the next major job really. Okay, so I've now restuck the roof lining so that it's prepared, ready for putting the wooden slats up. The cuddy ceiling has been very well insulated. sure is hot in here. It's just 79.5 degrees, I reckon. Okay, so that's as far as I've got during this weekend. I now need to do some work in the workshop to do the surrounds around the windows and to sort out the beading for the hatch and a couple of pieces of beading for the roof and for the sides, and then it should be done. Once the construction stage is finished, then I'm going to paint the ceiling white, so I need to do a coat of primer, and then I'm going to do some gloss, white gloss, and then at the same time I'll spruce up the rest of the gloss on the boat so it all looks nice and fresh. So today I'm at the workshop and I'm going to do the surrounds for the 3 windows. This one here is the original front window surround, which I've kept, and it gives me an idea of measurements and so forth. And I also have the window that I took out. So for this I'm going to need my bandsaw and a large table to set this all up, and just praying that my measurements that I took at the boat are sufficient to be able to do this. So I've measured out the bottom part of the front window, so I just need to cut that out, and that's the first part done. And I'm going to glue the pieces together as I go so it comes out as one whole piece. The cutting out of this front window frame is a bit like microsurgery, so that's why I couldn't really do it at the boat without some proper tools. It's going to be very lightweight. It's really decorative, doesn't serve any other purpose. So this is the basic framework. This is the back of it. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to coat it with some white primer. Then turn it over and do the other side. Then that one's ready for taking to the boat, and it's got all out the various cutouts for things like tables and the bar on the window. So this is a white interior undercoat. So when I've done this, I'll obviously let it dry. I won't film that. You won't want to watch it.
This is the front window frame. So I'm now going to move on to one of the side windows. And I have a template for this one from the surround that I took out earlier, although I do have to resize it. This is one of the sides done, one more to go.
So the next job is to take them over to the boat and get them installed.
Suddenly summer has begun in the UK, so time for a bit of an interlude by the beautiful River Trent.
So it's still very much a work in progress at the moment. I've just got some infilling to do at the side of the windows. I'm going to use some of the decorative strip that I bought for underneath the deck some time ago. So I've been able to get some to match it. So that's just going to finish the window surrounds. But essentially these are in. I just need to get the other side of them with a spanner to tighten them up, but I do need somebody else to come and help me with that. I've got a little bit of infill to fill in there, and I've got the wood for that, so I just need to cut it, and then that side as well. And then the main job here is to fill in this roof hatch. So it needs some pieces of wood down here, and it needs a strip either side. These will have to be cut to size. So it's lots of fiddly little jobs that take quite a bit of time to do, but just getting the window surrounds in and underneath has been a major job. I've had to do quite a few other things on the way, like restore the table and the leg and get that sorted out, because that wasn't in the right place. And so once we get the painting done, I think it's going to look a whole lot smarter. The curtains are either going to be spruced up for now, and then I'm going to replace them when I can find the suitable material. So that is basically it. There's a bit of painting to do now, blue paint and the white paint. So once this ceiling's white, I think it's all going to look a whole lot brighter. And I don't think I've lost that much headroom at all, really. In actual fact, I think it gives it a much more of a nautical feel, especially with the lamp. It's Saturday the 5th of June 2021 and I've got the decorators in this morning. Say hi.
Hi.
So what we're going to do this morning is to try and get the white done on the ceiling and just finish one or two bits around the edges and do the hatch, and then finish the installation of anything else like the last remaining bits of the solar panel, and then it should almost be done. Okay, so how's it going, Leonardo?
It's alright. It's doing okay. It's taking a bit longer than I thought. But
How about doing the cistern chapel next?
only sister I know of is in a toilet, mate.
What are you doing?
Waiting for the paint to dry.
Okay, so I've more or less finished the inside. I won't say it's completely finished because on a boat it never is. There's always something you can find to do. But the task that I wanted to do was to change this ceiling, which I've now done, and I think that looks a lot better than it did before. And I've had to amend the hatch. It looks fairly substantial. One of the other little jobs that I've done as I've gone along is to put a little book rack underneath the wheel so that I can put guides in there, like the Pearson's guides and things like that, so they're all nicely at hand. Now I'm just waiting for the River Canal Rescue people to turn up to remove the engine, to take it away for its annual service. It is due today, but who knows. Okay, so the guys from the River Canal Rescue have been and taken the engine off, so we just got to wait for a week to 2 weeks for it to come back, and the job's a good one. So I hope you've enjoyed these couple of videos of my DIY exploits in trying to upgrade the boat. So thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, then please press the subscription button on the bottom right hand corner of the screen on your mobile phone or tablet. Please press the bell icon on the home page of the channel and you'll be notified by YouTube each time I upload a new video. Please give us a thumbs up and make any comments below, as I do enjoy reading them and I will respond to each and every one of them. So again, thank you for watching and do take care.